Welcome to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast. This podcast shines a light on Black and ethnically minoritised-led businesses across the Liverpool City region.
Exploring ambition, resilience, growth and the realities of building businesses beyond structural and systemic barriers.
Hosted by me, Joanne Anderson, founder and director of Innervision.
And the former mayor of Liverpool. Alongside myself, Yaw Owusu, creative consultant and music industry strategist.
Each episode features a single founder from the Innervision Business Growth Programme and a few special guests.
Together, we explore how lived experiences shape leadership, how culturally responsive support can unlock growth, and what it really takes to build a sustainable, thriving business on their own terms.
This is Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast.
Can you tell us who you are, the name of your business, and what it does?
I'm Salowal Walsh, and my business is called Salowal Limited, and it's a wellbeing business. We have 3 services. So we do mental health support, so counselling, psychotherapy that's culturally sensitive, and it's available for individuals. We also do EDI, equality, diversity and inclusion type training, particularly around anti-racism for organisations. And then the 3rd service, which is a brand new service, is workforce wellbeing, diagnostic and preventative support for businesses.
I'm dead impressed with that because we had a bit of a struggle to get there, didn't we? About what's the business, what exactly does it do? You were offering lots of services at the beginning.
And what's the name? That stuff.
Yeah. I love where we've arrived there. I was like,
But that's interesting because you recommended Salome for something I was doing. Yeah. And when I went on this, I was like, this is so clear. So clearly that's worked over that period of time.
100%.
And it was really,
I didn't know what I needed to know until Joe told me by Innervision.
Well, that leads us perfectly into, I suppose, a question about the programme that you were on, the Innervision Business Growth Programme. Do you want to talk about what you gained from that?
Well, I suppose as a clinician, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm also a qualified mental health nurse. I know how to do that job, but business requires a whole different set of skills. And I think I had an idea what I was doing and I wanted to do it, and I'd started the business already. But to grow and to kind of be seen and to actually have a following, I didn't know that part. I really needed Innervision's support to learn. The things like marketing, looking at finances. Also, I didn't even know that there was support from just general business support, but the sense of community as well, knowing that you're not alone with those kind of entrepreneurial headaches, if I can call them that.
There's plenty of them, isn't there?
Oh, so much. And we still talk now, even in our Innervision WhatsApp group, we still support each other. Yeah. So that's so amazing. It's invaluable.
I want to ask about the cohort then in that sense, because you just mentioned that, the support. Like, what did you get from being around other global majority business leaders, I suppose, but also the idea that you're all learning together, as those 2 things being quite important to your experience?
Oh, 100%. I suppose in life, should I say in the Western world, it's not always easy to find the community of people similar in that way. I mean, I always talk about race and anti-racism because that's the thing that sort of really impacts people negatively. So when you're in a room with people familiar, representative, there's a language, a shared language. You don't have to explain what those different difficulties are. We have difficulties with access, with funding. Never mind that I'm also a woman. That's another sort of, should we say, another level of disadvantage. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a room with other people similar and you're facing the same challenges, at least you sort of stop gaslighting yourself that it's a you problem. You know that it's not. It's actually a systemic problem. But then maybe that's where we have people like Joe and yourself, trying to make waves and changes for people in this space. And I found that my cohort, my peers, most of our businesses are also socially around supporting disadvantaged people. Isn't
Well,
that?
No, you're absolutely right. But Saba told me off a little bit that I'd given her health businesses. I'd give Saba a cohort of health businesses. So everyone who's being coached by Saba, she told me off. She said, I had no experience of health. And I was like, I have every confidence in you. And she said she learned so much, especially about coaching, because it's not particularly having to know your business insides and out, but asking the right questions. And I'll get on to coaching in a sec. But actually, Salome just signs up to everything and took everything on board. I think I say a lot with programs like this, and I've certainly done it myself. You know, you get in, you get out what you put in. And I've attended things that I haven't really participated in, or I haven't wanted to be there, and I haven't thinking. So I was really blown away by your enthusiasm and motivation to want to learn and do stuff. No, you were always good. You always had, book out. You were always thinking you had extra meetings with me if you wanted to talk. You you really were. You really did give it 100%, and I think that shows in kind of what you got out of it. But tell us what how it was with coaching with Saba.
Do you know what? I think that business isn't really about the particular niche. We have this similar types of issues. You have to know marketing, you have to know IT, you have to know your financing. Yeah. So those things are similar. Yeah. Even things like imposter syndrome coming, wondering where your next clients are going to come from is something that I think all businesses experience. I loved Saba's coaching. She's very warm. She's very encouraging.
She's actually the nicest person on the earth.
She is. And, that's what...
She makes it hard for the rest of us, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
She's so nice. No, but I feel like everyone on Innervision Programme, you chose really good people.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe in yourself in a world where the color of your skin means that people don't see you. Yeah. They don't even see your pain. They don't see your struggles. Yeah. Most of the times we work twice as hard as anybody to get to where we're going. So I think everyone deserves compassion. I think you reminded us that just be kind to yourself, receive kindness from other people. Yeah. And so that's one thing I take is I give myself kindness. So I go to the spa every now and again.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, just talking about that spas being the...
but I like, again, we're talking about in a world where it's challenging as it is, without talking about running your own organisation. Yeah. It's quite stressful. So in the sense of looking after yourself, what other things do you do to kind of take the edge off running a business, dealing with all the entrepreneurial woes that we go through?
To be honest, I find that networking helps, to be fair, because it sort of reminds me that I'm not alone in the struggle. Yeah. But then that spirit of kind of togetherness in business always comes. I always get surprised when someone says, I love what you're doing. Yeah. So I don't know if one way is like me looking for that confirmation. Yeah. But then I also... try to get feedback from the people that I'm trying to support, to see if I'm staying on track with my values and what I'm trying to deliver. And it's really helpful to just read those reviews. And they are 5-star reviews, I've got to say, guys.
Your 5-star business.
Well, I thought it was interesting. One other piece of work that you recommend Salome for was working with music industry, a diverse set of crazy music industry people on the last day of a residential where they've done quite a lot of sessions. And I just remember thinking how well it cut through. And the reason why I'm asking this is because I want to get to your USP a little bit, but like you managed to take something that might feel intimidating to some and really like...
You haven't explained it. We're talking about, it was a talk about resilience.
Resilience, yeah. So this is what I was going to get in. But being able to take something is like, okay, well, this is in this world of psychology and psychotherapy, it can apply to people in various industries who were facing, barriers and trauma maybe all that. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that USP of what you do.
Well, it started with my nursing training, really. I knew I wanted to do mental health nursing, but then as part of that training, I had the opportunity to go to a therapeutic community. So people kind of living there for 6 months and being supported. That was kind of like a turning point experience because I actually understood, as nurses, I learned the medical model. You have a headache, take a tablet. And I learned the other parts, it's psychologically understanding where someone is coming from, validating someone's distress or the experiences that have got them to where they are. So because of that, I then kind of took every opportunity, as what you're saying, Joe, to learn how to support people psychologically. And it's just taking me from strength to strength. I think all of us as humans, we all can have depression, or low mood. We all can get happy. We can lose people. We can struggle with our health, we can struggle with pain. We can struggle with things like trying to progress your career, stress of looking after families, and being responsible. And I think, as in the Black community, we have Black tax, isn't it? We're always starting from minus, not even zero. So I find that, like myself, most people work very, very hard. And taking care of yourself is the last thing that most people do. Yeah. So it's important, I feel, to remind people that they have to restore their energy and look after themselves so they can keep doing the amazing things that they're doing.
I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I remember phoning you once and I was like, Salome, blah, 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 blah. And she went, hello, Joanne, how are you? And I went, oh, hello. I'm fine, how are you? I was thinking, I don't start conversations with that. I start with whatever, I'm straight into it. Yeah. I've learned a lot of cool things. And just even as you were talking then, there's a skit of French and Saunders in a kitchen where they chopped the finger off by accident and go, oh, fuss and nonsense. And, not just sort of my African background, but my Irish backgrounds in terms of you just crack on with things. You don't sit there and say you're okay and how's it doing and that sort of thing. Interesting on imposter syndrome. I don't suffer from imposter syndrome, and I'll tell you why. I've never been invited to any room that I'm in. Nobody actually wants me there. So if I internalise it that I'm an imposter here, so I just go, I'm not invited, but I'm going to be here because I want to be here. And I don't accept that. It's not that I've never felt uncomfortable or I haven't been, I haven't learned from being in a room that is kind of adversary or not feeling me.
Amazing. There's another school of thought that actually maybe as ethnic minorities, we don't have imposter syndrome really. It's more like the repeated experience of being put down or being excluded from places. I mean, I had a fantasy once that I'm like, this is so difficult. I work in the NHS. And I see lots of exclusion and primarily based on race or culture. I mean, like, for example, we have Ramadan now, isn't it? So people need spaces to pray. We need to respect their culture. And it wasn't always available for people. And I was like, I'm going to start a health business that's just by Black people, for Black people. I guess I'm doing it.
You are doing it. You are doing it. And I think, I accept that at School of Thought, particularly around Black people, because if we took on board everything that was presented to us from society and our environments, we wouldn't get out of bed in the morning, would we?
No.
You know what I mean? We've got to, well, it is interesting when you do find yourself internalising it, or you do have to really question, is that how I view me, or is that how the world views me? I think it's interesting because I think you're definitely someone who thrives around people. I can see that, that you get people exhaust me. So whilst I'm ambivert, so I can be extrovert and I can be centred in attention and stuff like that, but I have to go home. If anyone tries to phone me, I'll
restore your own.
I'm horrified. It's like, how dare you? You don't, this is me time now, and I only do that alone. But I recognise that, not everyone's like that. People thrive off energy, of other people's energy, and get kind of restored with that. One of the things I found beneficial that I need to be alone is that I'm not a people pleaser. I don't do things for other people because I think that's quite burdensome as well.
And you never really get to the goal, to the intended, or
you never please people.
It's hard. It's hard. Like, how do you know? But you are making assumptions about what will please them. You're not really asking those questions. So that's one of the things that I talk about, in psychotherapy. I work on identity issues and understanding, I suppose, how the impact of the experiences we've had cause us maybe to people please, or to, because I suppose being Black and being scapegoated or marginalized, people want to belong. And so sometimes you can do a lot of crazy things just to fit in. So,
and in situations that you're never going to fit in.
No,
and I know you weren't born in this country, were you?
I wasn't. Born? I was born in Zimbabwe.
Growing up in Liverpool, where everyone's white around you, and you're sometimes the only Black kid in the school, or there's 2 Black kids in the school. I heard something on social media the day where I spend most of my time, but something about when people are mixed race, they don't have the same experience. And I was like, oh yeah, try saying that when you're the only Black kid in the school, that you're not having an experience. It's nonsense, isn't it? But
it's crazy.
It is interesting, and I'd be interested to explore the difference about growing up in a white environment where, you know, you are constantly told, well, actually, you have to find a few people who you can fit in with, where it's not about being white, but you just connect with. Otherwise, you're alone, kind of thing. And that, I don't know about your experience, Yaw, but certainly my experience. I had a little mate who was 4'11". I was 6 foot from the age of 12. She was 4'11". But if anyone called me the M word, she battered them.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't even that motivated by that. It didn't even upset me that much. She was just wasn't having it. And so I had 2 or 3 people I grew up with who were white, but was also kill for me if anyone.
Yeah.
But I think the whole thing you said about Africa, you know, half of my heritage is African, and like the idea of like being black wasn't a thing because you're African or Ghanaian or you did like the understanding that place you're from, even the tribe you're from, is your identity. So you don't feel like you're a minority. You feel actually empowered. So the language I found was quite different. Whereas you know, a lot of the language in the I suppose the Western world is being other, and what part of other are you? Do you know what I mean? So even relating to what you're saying about resilience and identity, it'd be interesting to get your perspectives on that, especially if you've been through a program where, you know, everybody is from, you know, a global majority background.
Well, you've heard of the three drop rule, haven't you?
One drop. This guy was talking about, but So I think historically, right, if as long as you were not white, you were another, and lumped into the same group. Classically. I mean, because I was born in Zimbabwe, I came here when I was 16. So, but I feel like I grew up here because 16 you're still a child, really. Baby,
it's different, isn't it, to be surrounded by people who look like you, but then there's the presentation of Western as the desired, you know. So you still come up here, you still come up with some of those wants and some of those needs in terms of belonging or what looks cool, you know, and what's acceptable.
Or being part of the group.
Exactly. So my kids are mixed race, and my daughter at 3 years old had that experience of another 3-year-old saying, "I'm not playing with you because you're black."
Wow.
And I couldn't tell them apart in their school photo. So it's just some of the same systems. I feel like racism and race issues just evolve. So that's why they're hard to get a hold of and really hard to shift. But I think the impact on people is still the same. So the othering still continues, and it's really a risk to people. And sometimes people don't want to talk about it. Even people of color, they don't want to think about it. They don't want to be facing it all the time.
And I think that's okay sometimes. What I felt in my work, because, you know, I've sort of done equality, diversity and inclusion work for like 3 decades. You know, some people in workplaces just want to do their work and go home. They don't want to be 100%. On the photo of the, you know, the corporate annual reports. You know, we have black people working here and that kind of stuff. And I think that's okay. And I think even in times like George Floyd, they don't necessarily have to stand up. You know, what happens is they do end up standing up whether they want to or not. I think it's okay if people just, you know, don't have to have race at the forefront of everything. You know, it's interesting you talk about identity, because in my identity, I'm Scouse first. And I know it's different for different people. So for some people, it's black first or working class first or a woman first. But my sense of identity from Liverpool is so strong. I'm very conscious that I'm Scouse first. And it sounds bizarre because we are a bit weird in Liverpool.
No, I get it. I get that Scouse. And even I say I'm an honorary Scouser too, but my accent hasn't caught up still.
And it's interesting when I've done, you know, I suppose I lived away when I was young. I emigrated to Australia when I was 14. So bloody racist in Australia. No, I was with my mum.
No, right, it's okay.
Just quite far. I just went to Australia by myself. Isle of Man I went to after that. So I was the only black girl on the Isle of Man.
Crazy.
But there was a black fella who lived there. But Liverpool was horrible at the time in terms of racism.
Did everyone just assume you were related?
No. I was made up. He was a bouncer, so I'd go out, tell Peter. Say that to me, I'll tell Peter. But I didn't experience much racism. The racism I experienced it really got to me. But Liverpool was so racist at the time. You know, being a teenager I'm talking 1986 in Liverpool, it was just horrible. So actually, because the Isle of Man's like a sleepy town, you know, I didn't really experience that much racism. And then I moved to London. So just being in those situations, like what was I bringing to those places? And Scouse just, I think, really formed strongest. But also I am really, I'm intrigued, and I explain this to people. We have a lot of mixed race people in Liverpool. The first full black couple I seen was when I was 16, when I went to Birmingham. I hadn't actually met a black couple. I'd only met, it was more common black men with white women. There was black women with white men that I knew, but
few and far between.
Few and far between. And so I think there's a really strong identity, and some people don't like the terms of the Liverpool born black. I'm okay with it. But, you know, we have got a very strong sense of identity because there was a lot of us. I think some people growing up mixed race in other parts of the country will have had a really bad experience. I wasn't alone in Liverpool as a mixed race person. There was loads of mixed race people.
Exactly. So there was a community.
Biggest group, isn't it? Sorry.
I think, yes. I think what you mean
Mixed
in terms of
heritage.
group. I'm not sure.
Because I remember I brought someone from London who works a lot in this space, and they come to Liverpool, and I took them around LA, and he was going around, there's loads of people there, come to an event, 200 people there, and he was like, I thought you said there's loads of black people in Liverpool. I said, what? Yeah. And he was like, oh no, in London, we consider it mixed heritage. And it was just a mad thing, because I was like, in Liverpool,
we say
normally
black.
See it's all black,
I'll fight you to say I'm black, do you know what I mean? And I found that interesting. In London, you go to clubs and everyone would be black in the club. When you went to a black club in Liverpool or Manchester, everyone was mixed. But we do have situations where people go up and go, where's the black people? Because there's just so many different shades of black in Liverpool as well.
And that's the beauty of identity. It really is how you see yourself. I think embracing that. But then it's almost like people are pushed into boxes, isn't it? So if you were mixed heritage, you know, I think there was oh my God, music-wise, Tyler from South Africa. Did you hear that story about her introducing herself as coloured and how that's sort of like, that's how she identifies.
Well, that is Cape Coloured, isn't it?
Exactly, because so it's to do with region and area. So, but if you come here and you're like trying to seek health support and you put all, you know, your identity, it means you might be boxed into something.
And that's why people are kind of nervous of that.
Just to build on that, as once with the work that you do, how much do those broad distinctions and self-identifying and also categories, how does that impact people's resilience or people moving through society and your upward growth?
Good question.
Imposter syndrome, because I just think it must play a massive part.
It does. It does. I think it can make it really challenging to know who you are, because you are trying to identify as yourself, but also belonging to a group. So the journey of you being 100% sure and settled in yourself, exactly like I love how you're describing yourself, Joe, is so important for people. And that can be freeing. It can support all sorts of mental health issues like anxiety, how you present yourself, how you choose to go for a job or opportunity, or starting a business. It really, your core of how you see yourself is the most important thing. So identity is key for everybody.
It's, do you know what I fear now? And I think I've had a lot of energy to sort of fight racism when I was younger. It was a fight, and I was always in a fight. And even though I was doing it in the most professional way or thingy, but, you know, I was getting up in the morning, I was fighting racism. And then, you know, having the experience of being the mayor and kind of reflecting on that, you know, I wasn't meant to succeed. I wasn't meant to do a good job. You know what I mean?
I know what you feel.
The label wasn't, no one expectation of that was to you know, especially sort of ending on Eurovision and a decision I made, and other people got credit for a decision I made and stuff like that. I'm really wound up the other side of being the mayor for some reason, that I notice racism much more now.
That's interesting.
It is, and maybe it's just an age thing anyway, but I'm really wound up about it these days in a way that I wasn't when I was younger. I think maybe it's, you know, there's a couple of things going on, the way the world politics are.
Yes.
You know, we were working towards progression and we were getting there.
We were.
We had a black American president, and, you know, and now we've just swung, you know, so maybe it's like a waste of energy.
Something is happening societally that is feeling like...
Well, it's swung to the right in a massive direction. But I just feel that one of the things I fear is being in a care home and just, you know, not being culturally aware and not thingy, but I think we all fear being in a care home, stuff like that. But I kind of...
You're still young, Joe.
I'm still young.
You got a lot of,
But I find that, you know, I like the invisibility I have as an older woman, I'm kind of invisible to a lot of people, even though I'm 6 foot massive, I can be invisible to people. So one of the things I kind of test, which I probably come across as really aggressive, and I'm not bothered, I enjoy it.
I know what you're going to say.
People just walking at me in the streets, and it happens in London. It's a lot of older white men who do it, but even some young people, and just, it's like they can't see me, and then it's like the audacity that I've moved out of their way. And I entertain myself with this, thinking, I'll move out of the way for an older person. I will move out the way, but you're just walking through me like, I'm invisible to you.
Well, oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and
that's so interesting. I have a hypothesis around it being about your color as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go with it. I'm
the expectation actually
for me to move.
There's an audacity.
Yeah.
Like I think there was a movement, I think on social media about us embracing our like the audacity that white women have.
Yeah.
Like white women wouldn't move out the way for. So why should we?
It happens with white women. It happens with women from Europe, I've noticed as well. And I just think, well, what's funny for me is I'm so big that they would bounce off me if they don't move, like they're worse off. It's like a car and a bus.
It sounds like
you had a standoff before.
I loved this one. I had this standoff though. I was in Spain, I was in Cadiz, and I was walking down the prom, and I both sorts of, when you cling to the prom kinds of thing.
Right, yeah.
And I hit this man, and he just looks at me, and I look at him. And he looks at me aggressively. So I just turn out and look at the sea. And he just mumbles something. I just stood there and just like, I'm not moving out your way.
I'm not moving.
But I can see a racism. Like I'm less than them, and I should move out of their way to let them walk. But I never done this in my 20s. He moved. Of course he did. I was all day. I was on holiday.
Do you know, I feel like the Karen phenomenon kind of magnifies this idea that we have to conform to someone.
Yeah, to do as we're told.
Well, no, the revolution is on.
Well, look, talking about revolution is on. Let's bring it back to the business. But no, I could talk to you all day, and do you know what? I love your take. You've done a piece of work for me again on resilience, and I remember I never captured feedback because I was doing stuff online. Yeah. I've had feedback recently where some of the participants are saying, I really enjoyed that session, I'm thinking, I don't remember that session. It was your session.
Because you took yourself out.
I know, but it was your session, so I'm getting great feedback. But I was like, when they're saying to me, well, so it was the discussion you had around resilience, it really impacted people, and so I just want to give you that feedback. And I love what you're doing. We could talk to you all day about that. But business growth, and has the business grown from last year? The programme started in the summer 24, but ended in summer 25. Yeah. What's grown from up until now? Oh,
so a lot has been happening. I now work with other therapists or counsellors because I suppose still the goal is to provide a wider reach. So I'm looking to develop that further. So we can reach more people. Yeah. The other thing that we're doing, I mentioned before, the workforce well-being, preventative and diagnostic testing. That includes blood testing. It includes musculoskeletal health. It includes mental health assessments. And the aim really is businesses to support workforce. Yeah. But of course, because it's our business, the heart of it is still making sure that people are looked after culturally, and supported to stay and work. Yesterday I was at a webinar that was talking about too poor to not work. Yeah. So this affects ethnic minority and migrants a lot, that people go to work even when they're sick. Yeah. And even when you're sick, you're not believed. I'm sure this has happened. It's happened to me. Imagine in the pandemic, I ended up getting COVID. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you too? Like, what?
You're invincible. There is a belief that you're invincible. Someone said an interesting thing to me.
You too.
I got sick. But someone said an interesting thing to me. When the employer doesn't look after people's mental health and well-being, it all spills into the workplace culture. Oh, and actually, it's the best money you'll spend in terms of tackling, also outsourcing, taking it out of the workplace and letting people
be supported,
have remedies and stuff and be supported. Even our language is different. I'm like, remedy, she's like, be supported. But actually it's the best money you'd spend as an employer, because when you, in the absence of that, then issues and problems spill. I'm not a big one for letting people's home life issues come into work. Now I believe in being authentic in work, but I don't want to
It's a lot for managers, isn't it?
It's a lot to take other people's. Yeah.
So what I've noticed so far doing some of this work is that when you talk to people at work, they're totally overwhelmed. Most of the times people just break down in the few minutes we have to talk because it's not just work. They have caring responsibilities. So what we're trying to do is prevent people becoming very ill because the evidence is showing that if you become ill, especially if you're minority ethnic, your recovery takes longer because your body's worn out. You're already overworking. We already have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard. So, and then we have caring responsibility, and the system doesn't, even though we have like sick pay and things like that, it's not always awarded to us.
It's not even perceived that it's for you, what you were just saying then. So I remember I was having problems in work and I was due to have an operation. I booked it off for 6 weeks. And I've been in this organisation 10 years and never took a day off. And I said, you know, they're being real dickheads over this operation I'm going for. And my friend said to me, have a day off, take a day. And I was like, what? And she went, you're not well, you're getting an operation. Anyway, I took the day. I'd only been off a day. So when she sat down with me, I was like, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And she went, you've only been off a day, like just calm down, like be sick. Even now, be sick. Do you know what I mean? And I was feeling guilty about having the day off and jumping to what else I should be doing and could be doing. And,
the pressure is there. I think for all workers, but it's worse if you're minority ethnic. But the pressure is there to go to work while you're sick. And I think there's kind of like, it's a subliminal language that we just learn. We kind of like how that child said, I'm not playing with you because you're black. It's not like they internalize that. We know that we have to do something extra. So it's in us.
There's more on us.
But it's important. It's time for us to look after our health. So that is what we're wanting to do at Salowal. For any other businesses who are interested in that,
And tell us where we can find out about
it's Salowal.com is our newly updated website. And you can take like a free kind of mental health assessment there as well to find out if you're doing okay. We always offer like a free consultation as well if you just want to have a chat to see if we could be the ones supporting you. So please go to salowal.com.
Thank you, Salome. Thank you for tuning in to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can check out more on the Innervision YouTube channel.
The business programme itself was commissioned by the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority Race Equality Hub, and this podcast is produced by Nothin but the Music.